What's up, y'all? You see we got swimming pools in Africa, y'all. How you doing, my brothers? I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me ask you this. How do you feel if you're a group of guys, you're like 4 people, and you get into a fight, okay, with some strangers. And later on, as the fight goes, people come and trying to break you up, and you like seeing one of your friends go against you, say, no, you shouldn't have done that. Whatever you did was wrong. How do you feel about that friend? I mean, you had the fight, okay? These are your good friends. You're together, and then you're facing some bunch of other people. And the police comes, and one of your friends goes like, you were wrong, you were wrong. I mean, one of your friends goes, you were wrong, in front of the police. How do you feel about that? Wouldn't you want your friend to speak to you in private? Like, whether you're wrong, speak to you in private, say, dude, I think you're wrong, eh? You shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have punched him like that. And maybe in public say, no, well, whatever happened here, my brother was correct. Or my brother. You want somebody to defend you in public and stress you out in private, okay? Somebody to defend you in public and correct you in private, right? It's same is valid with relationships, right? You want your husband, if you have a problem with whoever in the street, to say, let me defend you first, then correct you in private. Say, baby, what you did was wrong, okay? The waitress wasn't problematic. You are being difficult, but not in front of the waiter, right? Doesn't make sense. Well, has South Africa betrayed Brics partners? Well, South Africa has voted against Russia in the United Nations. Crazy stuff. Basically, what happened? South Africa broke ranks with all its Brics partners and voted on Wednesday, 3rd December, for the United General Assembly resolution demanding that Russia returns thousands of Ukrainian children abducted during the war back to Ukraine. So Russia must return the kids back to Ukraine. China did not vote. India voted against, but South Africa voted for, meaning South Africa has turned its back logically against Russia. Now, what does this mean? Has South Africa snitched out on its friend? We're going to try to find out and dive into these profound things. The resolution is called Return of Ukrainian Children, introduced by Ukraine and Canada. What is the resolution about? The resolution demands Russia to ensure immediate, safe, and unconditional return of all Ukrainian children who have been forcibly transferred and deported. And also, let me continue, it says Russia must cease further forced deportation without delay and also end the separation of Ukrainian children from their families and legal guardians, changing their personal status. So, for context, all right, Russia went to war against Ukraine. Russia took some of the land of Ukraine. These lands here are within Russian hands, okay? Why is Russia fighting against Ukraine? Russia feels like Ukraine is turning a little too much to the west. And that's very dangerous for their survival. Therefore, they need to take up a big chunk of Ukraine to protect themselves. Now, Russia got onto Ukraine. And these provinces of Ukraine are Russophone. They speak Russian. The Russian justification is they took children, about 1,000 kids, to Russia because of one thing. What is that thing? They were trying to protect the children from the war. Because, I mean, if you and I are fighting and we're shooting guns and bombs, and I'm on this side, and you're on that side, and kids are in the middle, what happens? You're probably going to kill the children, right? So in order for them to protect these children, it was necessary that Russia made a decision to take them away. And Russia also had saying that because these kids speak Russian, Ukrainian didn't really care about them like that. They took them away. That is when they issued a warrant of arrest against Vladimir Putin. So how is the voting process in the United Nations? It's very simple. We have 193 countries registered in the world, and each country holds one vote. Now, for non-important issues, you just need the majority to vote and whatever bill is passed. So out of 193, if you have 97 votes, you can pass whichever law that you've acquired. Now, for very important issues like war, distress, situation like in Russia, you need 2/3 of the people to vote to win whatever the situation is. Are we understanding each other? For the situation of Russia, out of 193 countries, you need at least 128 positive votes saying Russia must return the kid. And in this case, there was only 97 positive votes. Most of the countries refused to vote against Russia, especially Africans, because they want to keep a good relationship with Russia. Usually in the United Nations, people don't necessarily vote because they thought. Okay? People vote because they have alliances. American, British, French, and Israel have their alliance. So whatever America says, France and the other will say, okay, even if it's bad. Whatever Israel says, they're going to say yes. Now, the question everybody's asking is, why would South Africa do this to Russia? They're supposed to be friends, okay? What happened? Some interesting things happened. In April this year, Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine visited South Africa. Yes, and he gave the president a list of 400 abducted children whose return he asked South Africa to help secure. Okay, so the man went to South Africa to discuss with the president. Say, listen, brother, you said you're neutral because South Africa says it's a neutral country in Russia and Ukraine war. Please, can we get the 400 kids back to our country? Okay, the kids are supposedly in Russia, into foster homes, and yeah, there's a lot of stories. Some people say some of the kids are in Belarus. Some people say some of the kids are in North Korea.
My organization documented 165 re-education camps where Ukrainian children are militarized and Russified. These camps exist in occupied territories in Russia, in Belarus, and in North Korea. In this photo, you can see 12-year-old Misha from the occupied Donetsk region. And in this one, 16-year-old Lisa from occupied Simferopol. They were sent to the Sondovon camp in the North Korea, 9,000 kilometers from home.
Is this correct? We don't know. Is this truth or propaganda? We don't know. But Zelensky spoke to the president of South Africa saying, listen, please, can you secure this for us? We need the 400 kids. Now, why would Ramaphosa try to secure the kids back? Well, Ramaphosa would try to secure the kids back to show and prove to the world that he's truly neutral, like they have said it before. Number two, there's a big lobby of Ukrainians in South Africa. A major lobby of Ukrainians in South Africa. Do you know there are Ukrainian South Africans? You didn't know that. You only know the Zimbabweans. Yes, there's a big lobby of Ukrainians in South Africa that are doing a good job for Ukraine. They went and lobbied in many offices. They knocked at the doors of governmental officials, bringing them documents, explaining to them, lobbying in many ways. They submitted formal appeals and many things. So unlike China, Russia, and India and Brazil, which is part of the Brics, South Africa voted for the resolution aligning with Western and Ukrainian demand. South Africa emphasized its commitment to international law, sovereignty, and protection of children while continuing to call for a negotiated peace settlement. Now, before South Africa did this, I mean, you're probably asking yourself the question, like, how would Vladimir Putin feel about this? He wouldn't be happy, right? In the same way like you. I mean, when you have a friend that all of a sudden speaking to your enemies and now your friends start distorting the story, or your friend maybe says, okay, maybe how do you feel? Like, dude, what are you doing? We're supposed to be friends. Well, something happened before. South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa met with Vladimir Putin during June 2023 visit in Russia. So he had a discussion with him first. He said, brother, please repatriate the children as a confidence-building measure for peace. So Ramaphosa said to Putin, please take the kids back. This is going to be a way for you to show to the world that you actually want peace, so you don't look like an evil person. So the move by South Africa is not necessarily a shock by Russia, because the presidents had already a discussion prior with the president of Russia. What is South Africa trying to do here? I mean, South Africa is trying to retouch its global reputation. You know, Pretoria has faced criticism to appear too close to Moscow, and that's been a problem. And this vote will help rebalance its image as a neutral country between Russia and Ukraine. And domestically, what does South Africa gain? South Africa can show its citizens and African partners that it's not blindly following Brics and it's making independent decisions. Now, you remember Donald Trump accused South Africa of unaliving many, white South Africans. The big question is this one. Will Brics trust South Africa again? Because when they say that, remember, Cuba, this is Cuba right here on the map. Cuba has been sanctioned since 1960s. They can't get medicine, no good food, no cars. Look at the cars they drive in Cuba. These are the cars from back to 1960s. There are no new cars going to Cuba. Look at the infrastructure. Look at the buildings. They look very old. Why? Because the United States of America sanctioned them. For what? Because they chose Cuba. They refused to open the market. Okay. Now, what happened? Very lately here, there was a motion where countries had to vote whether Cuba should be unsanctioned. The United States of America was the only country to say no. Cuba should say sanction, but there was another country, a second one. Which one? Do you know it? Israel. Do you think Cuba and Israel have a problem? No, they don't. But because America said no, Israel said no. Do you remember there was a moment they said, they need to do something about people in Gaza? Okay, open the road. So opening the door for people in Gaza would just basically mean bringing food to them, medicine, helping them a little bit. Because not everybody in Gaza is a killer, right? Some of the people are just normal people that actually don't deserve what's happening. Now, there was a motion to vote for entry of food and drinks and medicine to people in Gaza. Israel said no. The United States of America had a vote. What do you think they said? They said no. Okay? So they basically chose each other. They didn't use rationale or anything. Now, my question is this one. Should South Africa do the same when it comes to Brics interest? Support interest, whether it's good or bad. Should South Africa choose Russia every time Russia takes a decision? Or should South Africa make sometimes decisions that are rational to South Africa? Now, will that make South Africa a snitch out of Brics? Because he made a choice that not necessarily aligned with Brics, but aligned with Western nation. Let me know if you know about this. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.